Now, face the mighty bison.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. There's a couple of things that I want to talk about in this video. We're going to be talking about Clive, we're going to be talking about Tekken 8, and we're going to be talking about a lot of growth. But the first thing that I want to talk about is a lie that was shared about me. So I made a video where I was talking about Virtua Fighter 6, and I was reacting to the main man's take on it.
It's not trash. You have no. You're I was like, don't tell me I have one of these Virtua Fighter apologists again in my fucking chat. But yeah, it's a great fighting game, though. It really is.
I was told he was talking about Virtua Fighter 6, but he was actually talking about Virtua Fighter 5. So I took that video down because it wasn't accurate. But then after that, for the next couple of days, I seen like a lot of people like, oh, so you hate Virtua Fighter, so you hate Virtua Fighter. And I'm like, where is all of this coming from? And then I find out that D all the way G is basically clipping me out of context and lying about me and blowing the whole thing up to an insane degree. Now, I'm not really going to address the guy directly because I think the guy is just like, he doesn't have good intentions. And when someone doesn't have good intentions, there's nothing there, right? But what I will say for all of you guys who are thinking that I hate Virtua Fighter, I said I am not going to pre-order Virtua Fighter and you should not either until, this is the part that was cut out, I said until the game shows us more and shows us what we want to see and commits to the idea that Virtua Fighter has always delivered. I think a lot of these video games are changing drastically. Tekken 8 is a prime example of it, right? So that is what I was trying to highlight, is that, you know, Virtua Fighter, I'm very excited for the game, but I want to make sure that before we put our money down, the game gives us the gameplay that we're looking forward to. I think D clipping me out of context the way that he did and then making it seem way worse than what it was a very bad thing to do. Very disingenuous, bro. You got to do better. But let's move on and talk about everything else that's happening in this update. I have a tweet here from King J that I just want to show you guys because I think it's pretty interesting. King J was someone who spoke out against, you know, Clive when he first was shown. It says, I'm going to speak up. This ain't it at all. If you keep making these choices, the game is going to get killed. Someone responded a couple of days later when the character already came out, and you see King J stream and it says Clive is my new main. So this person's kind of laughing at the fact that, what is that, hypocrisy? King J responds to this and says, when have I never played or tried out a character in Tekken 7 or Tekken 8 DLC stream? Even played Akuma, Noctis, and many other characters. I'm still saying if he don't suit the game, so what now? But I bring up this point to show you that the character was controversial. A lot of people think that he doesn't belong in Tekken and he should not be in Tekken. But also there's this like comparative nature to Tekken 8 and Virtua Fighter 6. A lot of people are looking at what's going on with Tekken 8 and they're looking at Virtua Fighter and they're saying, when that game comes out, I'm going to jump ship and play that game. Now, I don't know when Virtua Fighter 6 will drop. The chances of it dropping in 2025, the same year as GTA 5, is probably slim and also would not be a good idea. But you have this tweet here from IMOP where he says, the Clive character trailer has double the views of Virtua Fighter 6 trailer announcement. Although we frequently see comments that Tekken should stick to pure martial arts, the market suggests otherwise. And you can see the Clive trailer has 1 million views, and you can see the Virtua Fighter trailer has 500,000. Now, this is a little bit late making this video, so the numbers on both probably went up. But what I will say to this as well is that just generally when you look around at like Twitter, Reddit, and even you could look at Tekken Warehouse's website, bro has insane levels of traction. It seems like a lot of people are talking a lot about this guy Clive, and the conversation is very much alive. I put out this tweet and this is one of my most successful tweets ever, and it's literally just a meme of Clive. So the guy is definitely generating a lot of discussion online, but we have yet to see whether or not that discussion online is turning into actual sales, because that's what you need when you do a guest character, right? And now if we take a look at the Steam charts, you can see that it's not necessarily doing that initially, but it has the possibility to turn into something greater. Another tweet that I made was this one here, where I was basically just showing his day one presence. Day one, Clive had a total of 11,235 players on for Steam. So that's the peak numbers. Now, I just said that just so people get an understanding of how successful the character is, but a lot of people start to point out how this is not better than Heihachi's, right? When you look at the actual numbers, you can see that Clive 11,686, and then Heihachi is 14,551. Now, what you also got to pay attention to with this Heihachi is the sharp drop off, right? This is also the same time when the game got review bombed twice, and there was a lot of weird things that was happening at that point in time that lost a lot of players. Clive is starting at a lower point, but players are happier. When Heihachi, it started higher, but people were upset, so it dropped. So if Clive and the update, and this positive energy carries, the players who were playing the game could carry for a longer duration. There was also players who were sending around this screenshot, and it basically shows the gains and loss of players over the lifespan of any game, but for this case, it's Tekken 8. You can see from January all the way up until now. And you can see that the game has been kind of like tanking, right? 35% and then 34%, 29%. So the game has kind of been losing players. There was this time here in July when they gained a lot of players. And from that point on, you can see that the drop off wasn't as sharp. Before July, you had 20%, 29%, 30, 30. But after July, you have a 6, 12, 17, and then, not that much there, right? So it's not the best, but you do see that their retention is starting to hold. They're not really losing players the way that they were at the start of the game. And I think a lot of that drop off was going to always be there. We see this for every game. Dragon Ball Z Fighters or Sparking Zero, whatever it's called, that game lost 90% of its players after the first month. Right? So we always see this drop off for every game. But for Tekken, they've always done good the longer the game goes on. And Tekken 8 is obvious of that. The game has gotten so much better since May, April, March, February, January, right? And when they get into season 2 and they really start to attack the balancing, like if they do some of what the players are asking, not all, because I don't think the players have the best ideas all the time, but sometimes there's some great ideas. If they do some of what the players are asking and also some original ideas of their own, but keep heading in the direction that they're heading, I think they could do some incredible things, and the player base is going to skyrocket. And when you talk about Recover, they're at a very positive on Steam right now, mostly positive. The game went on sale and a lot of people bought it. You can see that big spike here, but then also with Clive, you can see this little spike here where a lot of people were buying it and having great experiences. But to continue with the conversation, what I will highlight about this is that, for the Tekken 8 trailer for Clive on the Japan side has mixed reviews. It has 1,800 likes versus 1,500 dislikes. Now that is pretty interesting. I have no clue why the Japanese player base is very uninterested in the gameplay, and also don't know how much of an impact that will have, because if you know anything about the regions of Tekken, is that the Japanese region is the smallest region, right? Harada has tried very hard over the years to make that player base bigger, but they just are interested in other games. League of Legends, Dota, Overwatch, they have Valorant, they have many things in their regions, China, Japan, Korea, that is so dominant. That's why we see those that player number not really skyrocketing. And you even have this post here that was made one day ago, top esports events of 2024 by peak viewership, and fighting games isn't a part of this discussion. Now, I really don't know why fighting games struggle to find an audience when you have games like these who are just, bathing in glory. Players are interested in competition. Players like to watch competitive games and play competitive games, but it's something about the fighting games that a lot of people just seem kind of uninterested in. And I don't know what the developers can do to overcome this hurdle, because I think right now we have some of the best fighting games out. Like, even though Tekken 8 people are like yapping about the game, I still think generally the game is great. Same thing with Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, we won't talk about that. Guilty Gear is good. Virtual Fighter looks like it's going to be good. City of Wolves look like it's going to be good. So you have a lot of great things for fighting games, but it still is just struggling to pull in an audience. When we look at this tweet here, for Street Fighter you have 15,000. That's pretty consistent for them. Tekken 8 you have 7,000 at the time of Clive's release. That's not really the best, right? And then Mortal Kombat 1 sitting at a 45, just 45, not 4,500,000, nothing, just 45. What is happening? The only thing that I could say to this is that it seems like everyone is actually loving the character Clive. People are playing him. they're having a good time, and the experience just generally around Tekken 8 seems to be a very positive one. And if you want to grow, if you want to be successful, then that's the first step, is have that positive excitement as a foundation. And from there, you can build infinitely. That's kind of what Tekken 7 did, right? Tekken 7 didn't have all of this swirling negativity. Everyone was so energetic. And then from that energy rose Titans, success, sales, everything, players, right? So we'll see whether or not Tekken 8 can do it. Again, this is their best opportunity. Ending off season 1 and what seems to be a success. And in season 2, a lot of people were happy for that. Let the good times roll is what I say.